Welcome back everyone, English for Electrical Engineering. This is Unit 8, Health and Safety at Work. As always, we are going to read a couple of texts and answer comprehension questions about what we have read. Let's take a quick look at our first one right here. Attention must be paid to safety in order to ensure a safe working practices in factories. Workers must be aware of the dangers and risks that exist all around them. 2 out of every 3 industrial accidents are caused by individual carelessness. In order to avoid or reduce accidents, both protective and precautionary measures must be followed while working. Each country has specific regulations concerning health and safety at work. For example, the Health and Safety Act of 1974 is a UK Act of Health Safety Parliament that establishes the fundamental rules to enforce workplace health, safety and welfare within the United Kingdom. The objectives of the Act are to secure health, safety and welfare of people at work, to protect people in the workplace against risks to health or safety in connection with their work activities, to control the keeping and the use of dangerous substances, and to control the emission of dangerous gases into the atmosphere. The Act defines the general duties of employers, employees, suppliers of goods and substances for use at work, and people who manage and maintain work premises. In particular, every employer has to ensure the health, safety and welfare at work of all employees, visitors, the general public and clients. Employers have to ensure the absence of risk to health in connection with the use, handling or storage of items and substances, as well as provide adequate facilities for a safe working environment. It is also very important to provide employees with proper instructions and training so that they will be able to cope with any problem that may occur at work. Employees on their part should always behave responsibly at work and take care of themselves and other people who may be affected by their actions. Moreover, they should cooperate with employers to enable them to perform their duties or requirements under the Act. Right, so a couple of comprehension questions. Feel free to take a screenshot, make notes, and then we will check the answers. So, why is it important to ensure a safe working environment? In order to avoid or reduce accidents. If you want to make this answer a bit shorter, you could simply say reduce accidents. Okay, reduce accidents is okay. Which law regulates workers' welfare in the United Kingdom? Health and Safety at Work Act of 1974. What does the Act define? General duties of employers, employees, suppliers, and people who manage and maintain work premises. Basically, general duties of everyone involved at work. What are the duties involved in work? What are the duties of the employers? To ensure the health and safety at work of all employees, visitors, and clients. Provide employees with proper instructions and training in case of accidents. Why is it important to provide employees with adequate training? So that they will be able to cope with any problem that may occur at work. How can employees contribute to a safe working environment? They should always behave responsibly at work. Again, to make it a bit shorter, you can say they should behave responsibly. خلاص. Alright. Let's work on the words a little bit here. New words or expressions on the left, and we'll have to match them with their definitions on the right. Precautionary measure is our first one on the left, and the 6 options are responsibility or task that you have to do as part of your job to deal effectively with a difficult situation, the buildings and land occupied by a business, poor attention to an activity which results in harm or errors, action taken to prevent something dangerous from happening, the health, comfort, and well being of a person or group. Precautionary measure is action taken in order to prevent something from happening. Precautionary. Before something happens, you do something to avoid a dangerous situation. Carelessness. Carelessness. Poor attention to an activity. When you don't care, careless. You don't really care if anyone gets harmed or if there's any errors. That's carelessness. Welfare is health, comfort, and well-being of a person or a group. Duty are the things that you have to do, a responsibility or task that you have to do as part of your job. Okay? Think about what your duties are. Your duties as students. What are the things that you have to do? Premises is the buildings and land occupied by a business, the location basically, and to cope with something is to deal with something, to deal effectively with a situation. Right, so these were the words with their definitions right here. Let's take a look at our next reading task here. This is an example of safety rules established by Workers' Safety Committee in a factory in Adelaide, Australia. You will have all the different sections about machinery, tools, and dress code. We will have to fill in the gaps with the missing words here. So we've got operate, tidy, fire, gloves, concentration, first aid, protection, and brush. This would be a listening task. So that means we have completed this task in the class, and only if you were not there, if you missed the class, then you can check your answers right here. So I'm not going to spend much time on it. Let's just look at here. Number 2, the word would be protection. So use all the protection required in the place of work. Number 3 is concentration is important at all times. And number 4 would be gloves. We've got a couple of more, 3, 4 more here. Keep the workshop tidy. Do not leave rubbish around. And clean the machines after use with a brush. Number 7, make sure you know where to assemble in the event of fire, of course. And never administer first aid unless you have been trained to do so. Okay? Right. So, you can go back and read through the entire text. And then we've got a couple of true or false statements here. So use machinery only when the other people are in the workplace. That's true. People must not talk in the workplace. That's false. You have to communicate with your colleagues. Turn off electricity after a machine has been cleaned. Well, you should turn off the electricity before you even start cleaning the machine. Very important. Number 4, wear safety boots before arriving at the workplace. It's not necessary, but as soon as you enter the workplace or the workshop, you should definitely be wearing safety shoes, but it's not a requirement for you to wear the safety shoes outside. If anybody has tried driving in safety boots, you will know that it's not it's not that easy, especially if you drive a manual car. So anyway, always wear sunglasses when using a machine. Sunglasses, if you're working outside maybe, but protective glasses or safety goggles would be my bet. Damaged tools can be dangerous. That's of course true. Report the supervisor about damaged equipment. Yes, of course we'll have to do that. In case of fire, ask the supervisor where the emergency stop buttons are located. That is force, you just have to go to the assembly point as soon as possible. In case of fire, shout to catch other people's attention. That's not the requirement. Well, some people will do it anyway, of course, it can happen, but that's not the instruction to do in the case of fire. Anyone can give first aid in case of accident. If you remember it, this one also was, of course, false. Only if you have been trained to give first aid, only then would you be allowed to. Right, let's move on to our next text here. Safety signs, colors, and complete the table with the correct sign category. So, safety signs and colors are useful tools to help protect the health and safety of employees and workplace visitors. Safety signs are used to draw attention to health and safety hazards, to point out hazards which may not be obvious, and to remind employees where personal protective equipment must be worn. Color attracts attention and can be used extensively for safety purposes. For example, color can be used as an additional safety measure to identify the contents of pipes and the nature of the hazard. Different combinations of colors are used to indicate the various types of hazards. For example, the color red is used to indicate a definite hazard, while a potential hazard is communicated by the color yellow. When employees are aware of the hazards around them and take the necessary precautions, the possibility of injury, illness, and other loss is minimized. As shown in the table below on the next slide, there are three basic sign categories used in the workplace: warning to indicate definite or potential hazards, regulatory, which indicates actions are prohibited or mandatory, and information to provide general information and directions. Each category is distinguished by the shape and can be divided into subcategories having different colors. So here we've got first group is the regulatory. We got permission, prohibition, mandatory. Permission means you can, you are allowed to do something. Prohibition means you mustn't or you are not allowed. And mandatory is something that you must do or you have to do. Number 2, warning signs, caution, danger, or risk. As you will see here, triangled in each cases with different colors though. And number 3, providing information, fire equipment, first aid, or general information. These are the 3 different categories that we will be talking about. Right, let's take a look at our task here. Match each sign with its meaning. 3 seconds to take a screenshot and just draw on your screenshot to connect. Just to connect the signs with the meaning. First one, slippery when wet. Oh no, we go by the signs themselves. So number 1, if you look at sign number 1, that would be, of course, head protection must be worn. You look at number 2 right here, it says danger, high voltage. That will be, of course, high voltage. You got the same words on the sign and on the meaning as well. Number 3 is, of course, the no smoking sign or the no smoking area. Number 4 would be the first aid station, and number 5 is slippery when wet. Number 6 is the cafeteria. And there we go. Right, we also had a listening task that we've completed in the class. I'm not going to spend time on it. Equipment and the hazard. Right here we've got one more reading right here. So here we'll have to read the text. Oh, you can only listen to it, and then we'll have to put actions in the correct order. So this one here is: the fire safety plan is required in all public buildings, from schools, hospitals, and supermarkets to workplaces. Generally, the owner of the building is responsible for the preparation of a fire safety plan. Once the plan has been approved by the chief fire official, The owner is responsible for training all staff in their duties. Evacuation drills are a very important part of the staff training associated with emergency evacuation procedures. Drills should be carried out in all buildings at least once a year. The drill should be checked, recording time required to complete the evacuation and noting any problems and deficiencies. After each drill, a meeting should be held to evaluate the success of the drill and to solve any problems that may have arisen. Alright, let's have a look at what to do in case of fire. If you see fire or smoke, do not panic. Remain calm and move quickly, but do not run. Alert the responsible staff and telephone the correct national emergency number. Have someone meet the firefighters to tell them where exactly the fire is. They can lose valuable minutes if they have to go and find the location of the fire themselves. So it's better to have somebody meet them and guide them to the location. Rescue any people in immediate danger or if it is safe to do so. If possible, close all doors and windows to contain the fire. Try to extinguish the fire using appropriate firefighting equipment only if you are trained and it is safe to do so. Follow the instructions of your supervisor and prepare to evacuate if necessary. The save records if possible. Evacuate the area. Check all rooms, especially changing rooms, toilets, storage areas, and so on and so on. Do a head count of all staff and report any people unaccounted for to the supervisor. Right. Okay, again, screenshot on the previous page as well as on this one, and you can just put the sentences in the correct order. So remain calm and move quickly. Telephone the correct national emergency number. Meet the firefighters and give them details about the fire. Rescue any people in immediate danger. Close all doors and windows. Try to extinguish the fire using appropriate firefighting equipment. And then we've got prepare to evacuate, save records, evacuate your area and check all rooms, do a head count of all staff and visitors, and report any people unaccounted for to the supervisor. And that was our last task. Thank you very much for your attention. Let me know if you have any questions at all. And if not, then have a lovely day, everyone.